Have you ever felt so tired that even a full night's sleep doesn't seem to make a dent? You know that feeling, right? Just completely and utterly drained, physically, emotionally. Well, that's what we're diving into today. This deep exhaustion we call burnout, but we're going to look at it through the lens of a really ancient story and uncover a surprisingly compassionate way to start healing.
I mean, listen to that. Who says something so desperate? This isn't just someone having a bad day. This is a prayer from Elijah, one of the most powerful prophets in the entire Old Testament. It's just this raw, gut-wrenching cry from a man who had hit his absolute limit. It just goes to show you, this feeling of wanting to give it all up, it's nothing new.
So what is that overwhelming feeling? When you feel like you just can't take another step, what is actually happening inside of you? Let's put a name to it, because it helps to understand the incredible weight that so many of us are trying to carry around these days.
Well, the official term is burnout. And here's the thing you have to get. This isn't just being tired. It's a collapse, a severe collapse. It's what happens when your internal engine has been running on fumes for way too long, and finally it just shuts down.
And this is maybe the best analogy I've ever heard for it. It's like your phone has a broken battery. You plug it in all night, you do everything right, but when you wake up, you're still at what, 40%? That feeling of never ever being fully charged, no matter how much you try to rest, that is a classic sign you're dealing with burnout.
And burnout shows up in all these different ways, right? It's that bone-deep fatigue for sure, but it's also so emotional. You start feeling disconnected from people you love, or you lose the joy in things that used to light you up. And your body's often screaming at you with things like headaches or getting sick all the time. These are all signals, basically alarm bells, telling you to pay attention.
And it is so important to know that you are not the first person to feel this way. Not by a long shot. So let's go back to that prayer we started with and really dig into the surprising story of the man who said it, the prophet Elijah. So get this, Elijah had just experienced this massive career high point, a huge spiritual victory on a mountaintop. You'd think he'd be on top of the world, feeling invincible. But literally right after that, he gets a death threat from the evil Queen Jezebel, and everything comes crashing down.
And he was terrified, so he did what any of us might do. He ran. He just ran into the desert, not just for a little bit, but until his body completely gave out on him. He ran until he literally could not take one more step. We're talking about a total system shutdown here.
So there he is. He collapses under a tree in the middle of nowhere, completely spent. And in his mind, he feels like a total failure and utterly alone in the world. It's in that state of complete depletion, physical, emotional, spiritual, that he prays that prayer we heard at the beginning, begging for his life to just be over.
Okay, so how does God respond to that? To this prophet who's basically giving up? You might expect a lecture, right? A get it together or have more faith kind of speech. But what actually happens next is one of the most gentle and honestly beautiful moments in Scripture. It shows us how God really cares for us when we're exhausted. God's first response wasn't a theological lesson. It wasn't judgment. It was practical. It was physical care. He didn't address Elijah's despair first. He addressed his empty stomach. He sent an angel with fresh water and warm bread. Simple as that.
And then, after Elijah ate something, what was the divine command? The next big task from God. It was this: go back to sleep. That's it. God knew that before anything else could happen, before any spiritual healing could begin, Elijah's body, his human body, just needed to rest.
And this incredible verse from the Psalms really tells us why. God isn't surprised by our limits. He's not disappointed by our weakness. He made us. He knows we're fragile, that we're made from dust. He doesn't expect us to be robots. He created us to be human, and he meets us right there, in our limitations, with so much kindness.
So this story about Elijah really opens up a much bigger idea. The kind of rest that God offers, it's more than just closing your eyes for 8 hours. It's a deep, profound invitation to find true restoration for your soul.
Yeah, let's break this down, because it's a really key idea. On one hand, you have physical sleep. It's a biological function. It recharges your body. But you can get a full night's sleep and still wake up exhausted, right? That's because what you might really need is true rest. The Bible has a word for it, shalom. It's this spiritual state of deep peace that comes from knowing, in your core, that you are safe and that you are loved. And this leads us to maybe the most personal invitation in the entire Bible, from Jesus himself. Notice what he says.
He doesn't say, come to a 7-step program, or try this new technique. He says, come to me. He's offering to step into the struggle with you, to share the load, and to trade your crushing exhaustion for his kind of rest.
So if any of this is hitting home for you, what's the path forward? Well, the good news is that recovery isn't some giant, overwhelming leap. It's usually just a series of small, gentle steps toward the light. So let's look at a few practical ways you can start.
The path to recovery actually follows the exact same pattern we saw with Elijah. Step 1, halt the drain. You've got to stop running and just admit what's depleting you. Step 2, care for your body. Take sleep and nutrition seriously just like God did for his prophet. And step 3, intentionally reconnect with God, the real source of that shalom rest. You need both, the practical and the spiritual.
So what does that look like today? Well, start small. Seriously. Maybe it's just turning your phone off an hour before bed to let your brain quiet down. Or taking a weekend off from social media. You could try reading a psalm. Psalm 23 is a great one. And be honest in your prayers. Just tell God, I'm tired. And if you can, find one safe, trusted person and tell them you're struggling. Bringing this stuff into the light is a huge first step.
So let me just leave you with this final thought to chew on. What if this deep exhaustion you're feeling, what if it's not a sign that you failed? What if it's not a dead end at all, but instead it's an open door? An invitation to finally stop trying to do everything in your own strength and to accept the gentle offer of real, soul-deep rest.